Hi guys, it's me, Jizzle again, and for this video that I will be dedicated to Asian History Month in 2025, I shall be talking about this movie, Ghost in the Shell, from 2017. Now I know we get all thinking here, why not talk about the original 95 version of this, the animated version, the version that came out, right after the manga, and then it exploded into a TV show and all that other stuff too. Well, I have a very important reason for talking about this movie first, which I'll get to in a surprisingly short amount of time, because it's very important. Look, I bought this on Amazon or something like that, and it was pretty cheap, probably because the reviews of the movie were so dismal. It was something like 43% for the audience rating and like 50% for the actual professional critics. So I was able to get this pretty cheap, like $5 or $10. But before that, I saw the movie on I rented the movie for like $3 or $4 on my Xbox Live account. So I figured, see what was cheap and stuff. So if you can believe it, this one definitely blew my mind. As a big fan of the franchise as a whole, and everything else too. Plus the fact that this manga franchise, which I just bought the colorized manga for Christmas or something from my Amazon gift card and such. It's like a big deal. I've always been a fan of this. But when I saw it when I was a little kid, it was just at the cusp of my love of anime, starting out. So I didn't actually know what the nuances of the actual storyline, philosophy, and all that was when I was watching it as a little kid plus teenager. Plus, it also was one of the major influences on one of my favorite movies of all time. One of my favorite movie franchises of all time, The Matrix. The cyberpunk Matrix. Well, what's really funny is that this movie actually, when I was watching it on digital, the thing was, it was so funny that it froze at a certain spot in the movie, which I thought was very weird, being that it's a digital movie. You can't really have scratches, nicks in movies that are digital, right? But then when I saw it off of my physical disc copy last night, it froze in the same spot. So that was actually really funny, really hilarious. But I'm glad that I saw this movie on live disc, because if you look at the cover of this, you'll see that the main character, Major Makoto Kusanagi, is doing like an action pose with two of the other characters on there, Bato and Director Aramaki, which, okay, I'm about to talk about the casting here for a moment. Everyone is pretty perfect in this movie. I just think that he's, although I'm glad that he plays that they got a casting here for Asian man and all that, but I do feel that he's too old for this role. Not to be ageist or anything, but I know that in the original comic book and the original show and even in the Netflix series, he's an old man. But I just this guy is possibly a little bit too old for it. And he also looks like he got either Tourette syndrome or Parkinson's disease. That's something I know. It's like if you blow on the guy, he'll just fall over. But other than that, everyone is perfect on this. But let's see here. Yeah, I'm glad that I got this one in particular. This copy of the movie, because when I opened it up, I noticed that there was a little bit of a double cover to it, like a double copy of it, double of the actual cover art, if you will, like with my copy of the movie, my double copy of the 20 Days Later series. But in any case, I found out that there was a loose thing on top of this, and it turns out that here it is. What they did was they packaged in there a little mini movie poster of the same character of Makoto Kusanagi in a different action pose with the name Scarlett Johansson on the side. I'll put that right over here. Now, this is kind of big issue as to why people don't like this movie. I'll get to that in a moment. I thought it was fun. Yeah, I'm obviously a fan of the series, but listening to the theme songs and the closing theme to the anime in Gym, which I'm unabashedly proud of that. I listen to that kind of stuff at Gym, Rocket Dragon, this song, Living in the Shell, is a very good song. If I ever see the actual original TV show, I'll have to do a review of that, because it is awesome. And I'm here. I love the characters, I love the ideas, the concepts, and everything in it. However, there were some people who didn't like Scarlett Johansson, in particular, playing the Major. I'll get to that in a moment. But I'm surprised you didn't whine about Bato or some of the other people in it, but it was squarely aimed at Scarlett Johansson for this role. Now I'll get into why that might be in a few minutes. But yeah, this movie blew my mind as the same with the anime goes. Now with the Major here, she's been portrayed pretty much the same throughout all media, except in the relatively new Netflix series, The Ghost in the Shell, I believe, 2045, which is 20 years into the future from this point in time. I ended it on purpose, by the way. But he did like what the Xeno Saga did, in that they made everyone into more chibi characters of the former, more adult selves. I have no idea why they made that choice, because it all involves, shooting and death and, cyberbrain and all that other futuristic mumbo jumbo stuff. So I have no idea why they felt it necessary to do that particular style choice. But for the most part, Major Kusanagi is supposed to be a adult woman. In this, she portrays like more of a teenager, like a video game character. Which, yeah, she is like that for some people. So anyway, we first see this movie as like this person has a very bad accident to the point that she's twitching all over the place, and she's gonna die fairly soon. She does die. You don't show anything about that. He just shows that her mother received the ashes, which there is some additions to this movie from the original that I like, and some I don't like. Some omissions. But anyway, you see that this character gets badly damaged in like something about her. Like as the runaway, she gets badly damaged in like a fight or something like that. But we don't actually see what happened to her injuries. Although, not that I want violence on women or anything, but her face, when they show her upper head and stuff, it looks fine. The body looks fine. She doesn't look injured. And they say that her body was so torn to shreds, so destroyed, that the only thing that they could salvage of her physical body was her brain, her ghost, if you will, her mind. And that's the premise of the show in a nutshell, pretty much. That, no pun intended, is that we can put our brains into artificial bodies. And yeah, that's the only little salvation I have for this movie being good. I'll get to that in a minute. So anyway, they cut to a type of reconstruction factory for this individual's body. Now, this looks like it would directly lifted off of the cartoon series, because they do like they have the body as a robot, as a skeleton, like the Terminator, and yeah, there's a fine reference in it too. That she will find you and she will kill you. I don't know if that was a direct Terminator reference or take on what was said and taken. Again, no pun intended on that one. But they make her a body. They do everything in their power to make a body, and they do like all the robotic stuff first. Then they cover it with like a ceramic shell around it, to the point that it actually comes off like dandruff comes off the body, like off of the scalp or something. And it's actually pretty nice. It's kind of graceful, especially with the music and stuff. And it mirrors the Netflix series so well. Now, this is the point I'm trying to make here. It's that we have had a very bad trend in Hollywood of whitewashing people of different races, particularly with African American actors, that instead of giving a position or role to a black person, people have been, white people have been giving painting their face with black, exaggerating certain features to make them look black. And that's a very horrible thing. we've done it in like old movies and even more modern movies too. I would even argue that the character of you Isabella from the game Crash Bandicoot Nitro Fuel does the same thing. She does one of the costumes. I would consider that to be blackface for them, which is what it's called for when a white person dons up blackface, when someone dons makeup to look like a black person, and that is so wrong. We've been doing that since the movie Birth of a Nation, and like I said, it's horrible and horrid. And many Asian characters have been done the same way, called yellowface. And that the prime example for that is the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's, in which Mickey Rooney portrayed a very racist and very, quite frankly, insulting Mr. Yunoshi. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And we all know and love this portrayal of Goku by Mr. Justin Chadwick, which even to this day, he is constantly hounded and annoyed by that. And this is a piece of shit, this movie. I already covered it at one time as the worst anime movie I've ever made, a live action remake of it. Now, we all know that Scarlett Johansson is a beloved actress in Hollywood, and I keep saying that Colin Jost, her husband, is a very, very lucky man. She's funny, she's a great actress, but from that movie poster I showed you, and in this picture here, you can obviously tell that there's one thing that's really quite noticeable about Miss Johansson. She isn't Japanese. In fact, I want to say she's German or some kind of blend of European peoples, culture and whatnot. So she's far from Asian or Japanese in particular. Now, why don't I consider this to be whitewashing? The Ancient One from MCU, where they could very easily put an Asian man or woman in that spot, but they picked Tilda Swinton, Scottish actress. What do I think that this is really a big deal for this movie? That they claim the whitewashing thing just in America. From what I hear that the Japanese audience really didn't mind that much. Well, I could think of two main reasons why it isn't a big deal. Because this is the original Major Makoto Kusanagi. And yeah, obviously, the name Kusanagi is a Japanese name. But look here. Okay? I want you to look real carefully at this image. And Scarlett Johansson looks so much like Kusanagi that it really doesn't make a big deal out of it. That's why I'm considering watching. And second of all, this is closer to the source material. That this character is designed to be like. and judging from her appearance in this one, she looked a lot like an American European person in particular. Okay, so I think that Scarlett Johansson was the perfect fit for this role as far as appearance goes, and I think she was top notch too. But there's also another reason why I think that the whitewashing thing is bunk in this argument. Okay? And I just explained it to you when I described the movie part. The body of the Major is actually artificially made. So, in other words, she could take on the appearance of anybody. She could take an appearance of a black woman for all I care. Well, I know. She could take on the appearance of, say, a Native American person or a Japanese person for all intents and purposes. The fact that they make an artificial body for her, and they say it in the movie and the anime and the manga too, kind of defeats the purpose of, this is a whitewashed character. This is that's kind of a bullshit argument. I mean, sure, the mind of the person that was translated into this body might be Japanese, Chinese, Botswanese, Indian, for example. But the main show of the body is a woman that looks like Scarlett Johansson. It's tapped into this as an adaptation of a very well-known anime, which comes from Japan. So the fact that Scarlett Johansson played this character and not a Japanese person, kind of a false outrage, in my opinion. So, so someone that is designed to be Asian and played by a white actor or actress, that's a source of a legitimate outrage. But as far as this goes, being that she got an artificial body is really kind of a moot point to make being whitewashed, because the Major can be portrayed as anybody, being that she's got the mind of a Japanese woman, and that she can transfer her mind into various other bodies. Looking at Altered Carbon, which I have not seen the Netflix version, I just read the book. But it's I would consider that whitewashing argument to be silly and stupid in just this case alone, because it's a fake body. Whether you refer to it as an android or a cyborg, it's a false body. I'm sure that if they used her actual body, like, from when she died, I'm sure that would be more authentic, more quote-unquote authentic to the Japanese experience of this. Yeah, when Makoto visits her mother, Harry, I think that's how you pronounce it, Harai or something like that, played by Kaori Momai, which I instantly recognized as the madam, if you will, from the Memoirs of a Geisha movie, because of her voice. Anyway, they have her as being a Japanese person, so, for obvious reasons. So, even they kind of acknowledge that it's kind of awkward to have Scarlett Johansson play a Japanese person. But then again, they kind of correct it by having a, a, a woman that's Japanese being her mother. It's kind of awkward, but if you understand the concept behind the ghost in the shell, it's kind of that whitewash argument kind of is stupid. But anyway, and you know, I feel that they put that little tidbit in there about the mother and losing her daughter and stuff like that. I feel they put that in the movie there to course correct from the obvious issue of the Scarlett Johansson playing a Japanese woman, and they put that just in the movie version, live action movie version, over the original for that reason. Gonna say like it's okay because we have her mother, her biological mother, as being a Japanese person, and presumably her father too. Her father as a Japanese man too. So anyway, besides that, they are very highly detailed in this movie to the point that they have all the action sequences that we know and love from the original cartoon. Right down to the part where they have the multi-finger devices, the multi-digit hands for typing, which I find really cool. They have the action sequence with the spider tank. That's really awesome. They have the part where she is being killed by having a device that is used for like when the doctor injects her brain with like a serum that I guess deletes her memories and her real life and her real personalities. Like that virus that the nanomachines from I Am Robot, the movie I Am Robot. And I like the setting of it all. It reminded me of a cyberpunk Blade Runner, which I want to say that this original manga came out around the same time as cyberpunk. No, Blade Runner did, the first Blade Runner. I think that maybe they could share ideas, or they could have like separate ideas that just coincidentally happened at the same time. But granted, this was from Japan, so they're like high tier technology stuff already. So yeah, this manga anime came before Blade Runner. So anyway, it also looks like the city that you see in one Yakuza games by Sega. Let's see here, well, there. The only thing I don't really like too much is the bikes. She drives at one point, the major drives a saloon bike, Grand Theft Auto. She does a bike like that, and it reminds me of that a little bit. But if I get too big and bold for a futuristic type setting, I feel. They also drive a car that looks suspiciously like the DeLorean time machine from Back to the Future. Before all the retro stuff was put on it. Yeah. When she dives into the geisha bot, she actually does like a dive like a la the movie not the movie, the games Kingdom Hearts, like when you dive into the heart and stuff, and then you do like that's just theme song by Taro, um, yeah, it's coming to Taro, I think her name was. Anyway, it reminded me of that a lot. And let's see here, they actually have the credits here for the geisha, one of the geisha robots. He played by same actress that does one of the X-Men movie where Wolverine goes to Japan and stuff. It's actually pretty good. But anyway, the Major is a character who is like a top secret agent. Kind of similar to Bond, James Bond. And she goes on like assassination missions, humanitarian missions and all that other stuff too. And one such case is where she has to infiltrate this thing and I think protect a businessman, for interrogation and stuff by her own company, by her own service people. And they show her actually diving off of the building where they're having the conference, the powwow. And it's very, very similar to the cartoon. It's almost identical to the cartoon. And she puts on a full cloaking device, a la the Predators, a la the Elites from Halo, which is very, very awesome. And then she dives into a glass window, like this scene is with us from. But the funny is that rather than remaining fully cloaked in invisible to the naked eye and stuff, except with like infrared cameras and sensors and whatnot, they show her as being as going visible for this part, for this protection thing. And she takes out a bunch of geisha bots as she does so. She points out one of them is like it's like good kill one of the leaders if she doesn't do anything real fast. So anyway, my question is, would it be better if she just remained close during this whole thing and this whole mess? And just like breaking people's necks and stuff while she was still cloaked. Why did you gotta go, spies, I'm here, I'm your death with you. Also, one thing you will notice in this thing is that she's I wouldn't say naked in this portion, but she's covered in a very tight bodysuit. So it looks like she's naked for the first part of this thing. But if you look closely, it's pure white, and she is obviously flesh colored. So this is like a nanotechnology type suit. Like it's more advanced than the exosuit in Men in Black. More along the lines of like a biosuit, like more soon than what was in Independence Day for the aliens, and much more stealthy, like Solid Snake. You should make a video game like that. I don't know if there is one, but they should have a solid American Solid game design after Ghost in the Shell. So anyway, she does that. She protects the guy from a geisha robot and private party is destroying the process. So then they want to find out who sent the Geisha robots to kill these guys. And turns out that it's like a hacker guy, like named Kuze, played by Michael Pitt. I have no idea why they didn't get involved with the whitewash thing with him, because in the cartoon it's implied that this person is an Asian person as well, with the body of a woman actually. So you could make the argument that they chose the man Michael Pitt for this role to be more anti-trans and all that, because it's a man, but it's supposed to be a man trapped in a woman's body, if you will. So I don't know what time for that. But anyway, he showed this, and then they also have Pato in there. Pato is like this guy that's played by Falu Azbek, which I'm pretty sure it's not Japanese or Asian, but he does a real good job at playing the role of Pato. In fact, they actually showed that Pato gets those weird eyes by transferring them into more suitable field work for what he does. He's the major partner in crime, as it would be called. So he's like a real top agent too, like a top police officer too. When I say that he's a lieutenant or some high-ranking official in that too, in that capacity too, like the major. So yeah, I'm surprised that nobody bids about that too, for the whitewashing argument too, which I want to say that he's also a cool goose in the show too, but it's later said that the major was the first successful case of putting a human brain into a robot body, and Kuze was actually the prototype for that. That's why he got so many quirks about him and so much hatred toward this field, and that he wanted to tell Major the truth of all this stuff. Now, also another too is that what was it? Yeah, like in the movie that it showed that the Major was the first successful transplant of this type of technology and stuff. But then they go on to say that there were 99 probably the bitching one. No, really. They say that there were 98 of 99 unsuccessful transfers of this, and they show some of the type of failures that Dr. Halsey, the doctor that works on the Major, they showed some of the problems. And I like the way you do that too, because the brain is a very delicate part of the human anatomy, even though some people might not appreciate that. But I like the way they show that these medical failures as being twitchy, they have seizures, they have different motor issues, they have nervous tics and all that stuff. I like that, because what you would expect for anything to happen with the neurology that goes wrong with with something like that, that they would develop nervous tics and all of that other stuff. Because I'm sure that if we were to advance as a society to that level, that we could transplant the human brain into something artificial and stronger and all that, that there would be some type of more neural issues with that if they don't get precisely right. And you could see it in Crusade by being half destroyed, which, let me tell you, I said that before, it might get a transphobia type thing, or trying to make it to be more friendly toward, the family audience and all that. But there could also be an argument that could be said that in the cartoon, in the original 95 cartoon movie, when they show this character topless at one point, like the lower body is destroyed by a spider tank, which is really cool. A spider tank is a really cool scene. And this part of it, the body is topless. So rather than just showing more boobies, they decided to make a man too. So that could have been it. But anyway, they show all the failures and stuff, briefly, of doctors that experimented and made these people into, trying to make the major. And let's see here, I love the whole part where they try to, where you see the major chasing down these two criminals trying to kill one of the doctors that worked on her, like one of her friends, like Cortana, Dr. Halsey, the Master Chief, like almost a mother figure to them. So she takes personal issue with them trying to kill her mother. So the major ends up tracking Litsky down, and in the shot-for-shot remake of the cartoon, they do an excellent job with the CGI work, in which they actually do the invisible thing with her, with the clothing device in her suit, and they show her actually taking down this guy in the same fashion as in the cartoon, avoiding his guns, and then pretty much wrestling him to the ground, like Wonder Woman would do. And it's real cool, taking him alive and questioning him. So then they also have a government agency that wants to put him down and keep her secrets, locked tight, because she gained too much free will. She's asking too many questions about who she was before the accident. The government was taking runaways and then experimenting on them without her consent and stuff, and they ordered her to be killed, to be destroyed. So in a very interesting way, they showed that happening. And one of the doctors that worked on her that knows her well, tried to inject her with kind of fluid, I guess like an iRobot, in the big mother brain type thing at the end. And they show her saying, I don't consent to this. I don't consent to this. You're killing me. I know you're gonna try to kill me, ask too many questions about this program itself. But the doctor just can't do it. She said, these are all your memories, these are all your facts about your life before the government took over and took your body and stuff. So that was real cool that she did that. I really like what they do with the whole brain tissue there, in which they actually show Makoto's brain being accessed legally by the doctor working for the government agent and stuff. And it really shows how this body is it was repaired and stuff in a very interesting way, much like say it reminded me of the scene from the Fifth Element where they repair her body and stuff. It reminded me of that a lot, but it's very noticeable that they don't actually uh, repair the skin of her breast and her private regions. Probably keep her. Let's see, what this book rated? Oh yeah, they probably want to keep it at a PG-13 rating. But that's why the other one doesn't have any female parts to them. But anyway, all the female parts of this, don't actually show anything related to the female anatomy. So then she says, I do not give my consent to this. Meanwhile, the government agent is like, yeah, kill her. And the doctor can do it. So they show this like a very sensitive brain, part of our brain that's being operated on. And it does remind me of Matrix with the jacking and stuff. Like in the earlier part where she's in control and she goes into the mind of the geisha bot, which assaulted that business leader beforehand. So I don't remember if they have this part in the original movie, in the original cartoon anime, but it's still pretty good. It's still covered with free will of the major. So it's really funny. It's kind of like a philosophical thing about whether someone like the major is property or if they're their own individual person, or as the government agent refers to it, a weapon. Just a weapon or an experiment to the doctors. And she does confront the doctor back. You experiment on me and all those other people. You monster. Just like Captain Halsey in the Halo books and the Halo game too. Yeah, do you consider a monster or do you consider a good person for doing this for the good of humanity? I guess you could consider the major a step in human evolution, as they put it. So let's see here. With the will also the fact that so you find out that because the doctor couldn't bring herself to kill or erase the memories of the major, it's a big scientific breakthrough and stuff like that, and that the government did put false memories into Makoto's mind, into the gooey tissue of her brain, and that was horrible, by the way. That she painted tattoos inside of her head and made her into a happy life and all that. And it's proven that the government agent is pissed off at the doctor for letting him go free after that, because at that point she was shocked and stuff, to the point that her neural interface kind of shut down, so she was locked in their body, more or less, and you couldn't escape if you wanted to, up until like the doctor injected her with some kind of serum. We think it's like a memory eraser or what, like some kind of biovirus or something like that, where we eat away her brain, but it's with some kind of an anti-neural inhibitor, anti-muscle relaxant that allows her to break free from it. The government hold and unlock her body, which is a very horrible thing to go through. I never went through that, but I would imagine that anyone that did do that would be horrified, especially being that someone would have access to your brain, and bad things would happen if that was the case, especially with a government agent wanting you dead or decommissioned because you know too much. So anyway, the doctor gives her memory chip, and the government agent kills the doctor to keep everything hush hush. And then the major finds her home, her old home at Happy Sands, talked with her mother, and then said, "Don't cry, Mom. I'm still here, even though I may not look the same as I did when I died, but I already talked about that. But that was a nice scene that they added to the movie. I feel. So at the end of the movie, they show her cleaning up her old room and not leaving it like a mausoleum. Like I know that some people do when someone they love passes away. They also have a very good, interesting scene with the Aramaki, in which two guys try to shoot this older man, and he actually does a real good job defending him with a briefcase of things. I mean, the briefcase can only cover so much on the body. Why can't these guys just shoot the other part, like the arm and the legs, rather than just focusing on the core body? But whatever. So anyway, they show him doing that, and these people are obviously government agents, but like a corrupt government and stuff. So then they end up going against her in a spider tank. The main bad guy, the main scheme they call him in this, played by Daniel Henshaw, and he showed him he's in the spider tank, like in the actual movie, like in the cartoon, which is really awesome. I can't wait to see that for my birthday month. But they show him trying to shoot down and shoot both her and Crusade, because Crusade more of a sympathetic character at this point, meaning that he was the first prototype of the technology of installing a human brain into artificial body, and it somewhat worked because he able to function, but he still got issues. It wasn't perfect technology, whereas the Major is more of like refined and perfected technology. But in the end, like in the cartoon, they do end up killing Crusade with the spider tank, or maybe with a helicopter. But anyway, he ends up dying. It would have been nice if they did like in the movie, in the original cartoon, where they show her mom successfully bring himself into the Major, so it'd be like a 2-for-1 sale type of thing, like where she would always have the brain She would be in control of the mind and the body, but he'd be along for the ride. Kind of like the fusion of Piccolo, Kami, and Neo and all that. With Piccolo would be them calling the shots for everything, and Neo and the others would be just supplying Piccolo with power and knowledge and stuff. And kind of like that in that thing. But anyway, Bato ends up shooting down the helicopter with his enhanced surgical eyes, which we thought that the eyes were like Morpheus would wear in the Matrix movie, like those real cool, tight glasses and stuff. We know they're actually surgical enhancements to make him a more efficient killing machine. And there's that too. So anyway, I think in the cartoon he delivers the final blow to the Spider Tank by using like a very high powered anti-material sniper rifle shot. So anyway, they show the Major using the cloning device to run around the tank and avoid the Gatling gun shells. And it's really, really nice to see this in live action. And they show her jumping on top of the Spider Tank like Mario, like Super Mario, and shooting the main hatch for this thing, the access hatch, and then having come up trying to rip it off with their own bare hands. And it's very funny. It's very cool because they show every single muscle fiber in her body trying to lift everything off of its hinges. And in the cartoon, it comes off as being like almost grotesque way she pulses every single muscle in her body and ripping off her, trying to rip this thing off of the hinges. Really, really cool. I guess that's the point, being grotesque. And they do this, and what's funny is that she rips off her hand, there's blood everywhere. She rips off part of her arm, and then she falls to the end of the inside of the tank. I think she might successfully have done it if she had no power, but I guess her battery meant went out and her strength waned. I believe that Bato killed the Skinny Man tank operator, I believe. So anyway, she goes off the side and laying in next to the Kuze before he's killed by the chopper. And what's really amazing is that they show this clawed hand there reaching out for Kuze and almost crushing its skull and Cerebrain with one of the devices on the Spider Tank. Now, I specifically remember in the cartoon in '95 that was supposed to be Major Kusanagi, I mean. And I guess they didn't want to portray violence for women, so that's why they had the audacity to change that to being Kuze. So they show him getting that crushing is cool there. But like I said, it was supposed to be the Major that got crushed, that almost got crushed. And it was really funny because that was supposed to be like his revenge after her almost popping the hatch. Because that she falls off and he goes to kill her that way because he can't kill a body that way. So he will crush her skull, and the submarine will be the end of it. But I know that in this version of the movie, they show it so that the line side by side, and Bato doesn't cover her up because she's not completely naked, and neither is he. But they show the guy getting a bullet in the head to kill him. He's like, no, don't kill him. He wasn't that bad after all. He just misunderstood, like Jessica Rabbit. And to prevent like censorship and all that, and the ratings were going up, it was just shot with a nice clean bullet from Chopper or from Ski Man. I forgot which one it was. But in the original cartoon, the guy's head explodes like a melon. The Ski Man, the Kuzi's skull blows up. And it would have been real cool to see that, but again, PG-13 rating. So anyway, also the dance club scene was actually pretty cool too. When she talked about death and I will come for you and stuff, but she's also being electrocuted into dancing for this guy, like a pervert, like strip dance. And it's funny because she said, I can't do that because I wasn't built to dance. So that was kind of like a bad sign, and she kicked butt. I have no doubt that Scarlett Johansson could do this in real life, doing the moves that she witnessed in Double and stuff, because of all of her work from the MCU movies, especially Black Widow. So a woman that is really nice to know that she can do that by herself. Moving around, and he can butt that way. He can butt that way. So, yeah. Perfect person for this role. I'm sorry, but Weight Watchers doesn't work out for this movie. So, because he looks so much like Major Makuto. And it's an artificial body, too. And let's see here, I would say that this movie is definitely top tier adaptation for anime. It might not be perfect, but it's definitely one of the top 3, I would say. A hell of a lot better than Dragon Ball Evolution, and a hell of a lot better than 43 and 50% of Rotten Tomatoes would indicate. This movie is a masterpiece, an unabashed masterpiece. I don't feel ashamed in saying that at all. Also, it's funny to note that in the mini post I got, which I'm sure is like a miniature version of the real movie poster that was presented in movies, in movie theaters and whatnot, I would say that it's funny that they only have Scarlett Johansson in the name Scarlett Johansson on there, because they know that she'd be the main attraction of people who are unfamiliar with the anime and stuff, and the manga. I didn't even know about the manga until recently. But right now it's in my room, unopened, and I will read it one day, the colorized version of it. I'm actually really surprised that only three volumes of the original comic book made such a big plus as far as influence goes with the Matrix. I know that the Matrix drew from a lot of sources, but this the big one. You know, Halo, of course, with Cortana and all that. And, what else was there? They made a bunch of movies for it. I'm not really a fan of Ghost in the Shell 2.0. I'll talk about that eventually too, and about the other one, the original movie. Yeah, many TV shows based on this. But music, I can imagine people doing cosplay of Major, Bato, and other characters too. And I think that Aramagi in this one kind of remind me of a Japanese version of Doug Brown. Where in the cartoon he looked more like my old social type teacher. Yeah, they end up with talking about the fact that that it's 2 a.m. the Major she's away from her mother by recommissioning her old room in the old apartment buildings that she was at, and the mother doesn't feel sad anymore that her daughter is still alive and in one piece, as it were, as her ghost or her mind will always survive as long as the brain survives. And the body is just a shell before myself, so that's where it comes from, like ghost in the shell. That the mind is the personality of the person, and that anything that happens to the actual physical body is just minor compared to what is housed in the skull. And yeah, it's very deep. It's very mind-blowing. And just in general, cyberpunk, just something wrong, is actually really, really good. And I think anyone that likes this show, the manga, it's awesome. It's awesome, maybe. So yeah, I love this movie. It's an A+ for me as a fan of this show and the influence on popular culture. And Scott doesn't deserve all the hatred she got from doing that movie. I'm sorry, but there are proper ways to go at somebody for whitewashing, but not this movie, not Scarlett Johansson, not casting, not anything else. Neil deserves for this. And yeah, the thing is, I wish we could picture the action sequences in here, but as you can see here, it's kind of hard to see. But the middle one is when she took down the terrorist guy. In the middle, when she did the invisible, like the cloaking device on her suit, and like the way they were interrogating the guy, and that he was in like a glass cage and like a glass room like Magneto in the X-Men movie, and they were like, don't go in there, Major. But she wanted to go in there and interrogate the guy, and he just hooked up to wires and stuff. And that was actually really funny. Wait, nobody wanted her to go in there because he just the hacker crusade was so advanced that he was able to get into the database for these type of things, and you were worried that she might be hacked too. That's another scary principle in this series: the hackability of the human mind, and that we can be implanted with false memories. We can be implanted with desires, with passions, with all kinds of things that are not our own. And our identity is under question too. That's why it's important that when the good doctor gave the Major back her identity and memories, because they were hers to begin with. So anyway, this is a very wonderful movie. Very good concepts about certain things, and I just love it to bits. And thank you for watching. I thank you for watching my video on Ghost in the Shell, a 2017 version. It's a great movie. I'm sorry, with stupendous. The action was great. Some graphics were great, and the everything about it was great, except for the bike scene and the fact that they killed off the main bad guy, or bad guy, Crusade, before he was able to fuse with nature. But I did like some of the original scenes, like the mother scene, upon the end where she's like, I'm back, mama. You don't have to be sad anymore. You can also get your ghost put into another body, like me, like mother, it's all like mother, right? And I like the fact they explain about those vision and eyes. I like the way they have them. Everything was just so much so good. And and just like this whole thing. Like I said, Colin Jost is a very lucky man. But that's not there. And I get this for Asian History Month. Not only is this a spectacular movie based on a Japanese manga anime book series and that kind of thing, but it's also talking about whitewashing in Hollywood, and how I don't think that in this case this whitewashing argument makes much sense in this regard. It does for most other movies and such, like the Ancient One in the MCU and Mr. Guy from Breakfast at Tiffany's. Another thing too, I guess you could argue that Samurai Jack was a concept of whitewashing in the cartoon too, because he's voiced by Phil Lamar, but I don't know if you consider that bad. Let's see here. I think of it. We got to play the main bad government agent could be played by Pierre Fernando Cutter, but he looks very much similar to Daniel Herschel. So I'm sorry if I got that name mixed up a little bit, but I did this movie for Asian History Month in 2025. I love the original cartoon. I love the music of the original cartoon, anime, the manga, the cartoon show on Toonami Cartoon Network. And I'll cover the Adventure 2 for my birthday month next month. It's awesome. I believe that this might have been the scene right after she takes down those terrorists, but the government agency. And as you can imagine, I give this movie, the entire series, my happy face of approval because it's just dandy, it's awesome, it's great, spectacular, stupendous. Yeah, and any other positive attitude news for this, it is the influence of the good. Everything was good about the movie and its content. Now, if you like what you see here, you want to see more of my videos, then please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe as well as from Kim Pro and Recap 99. And if you guys have any more input on, if you guys want to have more input on my content and opinions about what you want to see in the future, you can always call me or text me at 631-707-3707. And that's my phone number. Also, reach me at you can follow me on Twitter or Facebook at Twitter or X if you prefer it, at P Nelson Pro. Also, you can get my email at jjsviewchannel@gmail.com. So, I salute all you guys who are into cyberpunk, cyber anime. This is one of the forerunners of it, and it shows with like The Matrix, Halo, Blade Runner, all other type of science fiction and fantasy world and movies and whatnot. So, I'm one of those fans of those type of things, and it's okay. My book is very groovy, it's very wonderful, great, spectacular, whatever, what have you. Anyway, peace out, my brothers and sisters. I'll see you in the next video, all you girls, guys, in Interland. See ya. Bye bye. Hasta la vista, baby. Sayonara. Aloha.